Good evening. Hi, and welcome to this Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn and general live stream with myself, Ruth. I'm Ruth Benny from Top Schools. I'm the founder, and I invite you to ask me any questions at all related to Hong Kong schools or UK schools, anything at all. There's no format. We do have guests lined up, which I'm excited. I've been working on a schedule. We had Beverly Sace on a few weeks ago talking about early literacy skills, which was super popular. So that's available for you to watch on replay. And if you are a guest, if you would like to come on as a guest, if you have something to say, ping me. And I'm working on the schedule now for the rest of the year. I am going live every single Thursday at 6. And that is my commitment to you. I will do that regardless of whether I have questions or not. There's always something to say about Hong Kong schools, right? So if you do have questions, pop them in the comments below. Ask me anything to do with international schools in Hong Kong. And I also invite you to WhatsApp questions to me beforehand, which I haven't got this week. But thank you to anonymous Facebook user. I'll get to your question in a moment. So pop your questions in there. A couple of announcements. We have an event on the 3rd of June, which we are attending. It's actually organised by The Standard in Chiang Kwan O. And we will be there along with a bunch of schools, and we'll be doing a talk. And so do come along and meet us if you would like to do that on the 3rd of June. And we have a couple of summer camps this year. Both of them are on our Facebook group and on our page. And they're both for older children. So I see a little bit of a gap in the market for summer camps for children aged 12 plus. So we've got a really exciting partnership with an organization which are in partnership with the UN, and that's an overseas trip, and that is unique. I promise you, go and have a look. So I just navigated away from the page. And we also have a sports camp in Clearwater Bay that we're running in conjunction with a few partners. So if you have children aged 12 plus and you're wondering what to do with them over the summer, then we have a couple of solutions for you. So thank you for your questions. Before I get to those questions, I just want to mention that SCMP are breaking the news that we actually broke on the 4th of May. And the news is that the press release came out today from ESF that the zoning is being abolished. And we did discuss this on this Facebook live stream a couple of weeks ago. I don't really have anything to add. I mean, the press release has come out, and I've just been speaking with a few different media outlets about, comments on it. From August the 1st this year, families will be able to apply to any of the 22 ESF schools. So that includes kindergartens, primary, secondary, and also the special school. So you'll be able to select 4 choices. If you've already applied, you'll be able to massage your choices. You should call up ESF and they will also reach out to you apparently, but we would never recommend that you passively wait for that to happen. So do get in touch with ESF to see if you can change your choices. Is it news? What do you think about this? Do we really care? I mean, ESF have been operating this zoning system or catchment area system, a little bit of a legacy issue, which is following what state schools do in the UK. And don't forget, ESF was established back in the 60s. So I think that this is it's obvious they should have done it a while ago. One thing that ESF should also consider doing is to consider whether or not the December 31st cutoff again is really aligned with what parents are wanting, and it's certainly not aligned with what most of the other schools in Hong Kong are wanting. So I did have a chat with a parent just a half an hour ago, and if you have a child born in September, October, November, December, ESF are going to require your child to be a year older than almost any other school in Hong Kong. So you really do need to consider about whether that's in their best interests. I have a child born in November and I have one born in March. Neither of them went to ESF, but my neither of them would have gone to ESF because of this issue, to be quite honest. So there you go. ESF have abolished zoning. What do you think about that? If you have any comments, are you an ESF parent? Are you thinking of applying to ESF this year? If you are applying for their central applications, that opens on the 1st of September. We have lots of articles about this, and we have lots of guides and support in how to actually complete those applications, which we will update because you can now choose any school regardless of where you live. So there you go. So thank you to Facebook user. I think if you haven't liked our page, then you come through as an anonymous Facebook user. So I'm not sure if you mean to be anonymous or not. Some international schools run IGCSE till year 11 and then switch to IB. How does the GCSE model equip students to prepare for IB exams? And how do you know if the child is more suitable for IGCSE or IB? Okay. How old is your child, Facebook user? Let me answer the second part of this before we get to the first part, but they are related because, of course, what the school does is what the school does. Who your child is who your child is. And our job as parents is to marry the two. So we essentially need to find the fit. So I wonder how old your child is, because how do you know if your child is more suitable for IGCSE or IB? You won't know until they are at least like maybe 10, 11, 12. And I think the best way to know is by talking to them and educating them. And then they would educate themselves on the differences, and they will have agency and take responsibility for their own learning choices, because by the time the children are 14, 15 years old, in reality, that is what you hope, at least as a parent. I hope that we keep the lines of communication open and we have honest conversations about what we all think is best for our children. But you certainly can't decide for them entirely when they're this age, I believe. So that's one thing. The earlier part of your question is, yes, it's a very common model in Hong Kong that an IB school, and an ESF is a perfect example of this, that they would run the IB program all the way through, except for years 9, 10, 11, is it 9, 10, 11? Or yeah, I think it's 9, 10, 11, or maybe just 10, 11. So 10 and 11 are the exam prep years. So IGCSE is a UK-based qualification, the national curriculum of actually just England and Wales. And children will choose subjects in year 9, and then they will begin their subjects in year 10. And they would take their exams in year 11. And those year 11 children, my son included, are taking their exams right now for the last few weeks and for the next several weeks. And that is a 2-year exam program. And if you stay in the English national curriculum, you will then finish your GCSEs and go to years 12 and 13, where you do A-levels. So for GCSEs, children generally pick 9 to 11 subjects. So quite a broad range, and they would always choose some humanities, some science, a language, maths and English are compulsory. And then they will go to A-levels, where they would generally choose 3 to 4 subjects, so much narrower. And A-levels will go into their chosen subjects in a lot more depth. And this is where children specialize. So the argument is that for the IB diploma, children are not required to specialize as early as they are for A-levels. IB diploma includes 6 subjects, 3 humanities, 3 science. Is it 7? 6 or 7? Language is compulsory. So it's more of a generalist diploma, a graduating qualification, whereas A levels are requiring the children to specialize a bit more early. So, you know, does the GCSE program prepare them for IB? Not really. I mean, different schools do it slightly differently as well. Some of the local schools switch to IB as well, and I don't believe that they're prepared at all. I don't believe that all schools that offer the IB really embrace the spirit of the IB, which is inquiry based. Some schools engineer good results for the IB, and other schools genuinely, truly embrace the entire spirit of what the IB is trying to achieve. And the IB diploma is broader, is rigorous. I mean, it's different to A levels. I don't necessarily buy the concept that A levels are too narrow, because most schools are adding on a number of different enrichment programs alongside A levels. Notably in Hong Kong is called the EPQ. I forget what it stands for, Extended Project Qualification. So, Facebook user, I don't know your name, I'm sorry. I would ask, how old is your child? Maybe you could just post the answer to that. If your child is in a fully IB school, then taking the GCSEs in year 11 is a good idea. It gives you then flexibility, and it is exposing the children to exam skills earlier. The MYP, not all schools that offer the MYP do exams, like proper externally assessed exams. I think there's only one school in Hong Kong that's doing that at the moment, but that's coming. So I hope that answers your question a little bit. It's hard because I don't know that your context. Let me reread your question. The schools that do GCSE and then switch to IB diploma, off the top of my head, are German Swiss, Nord Anglia, ESF. Those are the ones off the top of my head. I'm sure there are others. So thank you for your question, and I hope that I've answered it as. Thank you, Amy, for your question. Congratulations, you succeeded with KJS. Is it P1 or year 1? Aged 5, and you're now on the wait list, which is a wait pool, not a wait list. I'll get to that. You've been told the chance is minimum, and you asked if you could switch them to another ESF school. Because, so my boy's in K2. What, is he born before September, Amy? What can be my options if the chances of getting a place at KJS is lean? So this, you have to ask KJS or ask ESF HQ, but this is probably because you've already completed the process. So if you want to submit a new, I'm not sure. I can see that this would be an admin nightmare for them, because you've applied for KJS. Which other ESF school would you be interested in applying to? So this is a wait pool, and it's not exactly a sequence. They'll have a look to see which children are leaving and which children are suitable to enter to replace the student who's left. And he was born in October, Amy, so he's going to be younger. Hold on, let me just do my October 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So he's going to be slightly younger in year 1. If you choose another school, he would go to K2 again. And he's a boy. He's probably your firstborn. You choose Beacon Hill. Well, I don't know what the wait pool situation is like at Beacon Hill. I don't imagine it's an awful lot different, to be honest. So I would stick, but I don't know. You would. So here's your options as I see them at the moment. He can go to K3. Where is he at kindergarten? Hopefully he's in an English medium environment. Now, if he goes to K3 for kindergarten, the disadvantage is it's a half-day program, most likely. If you can find a whole day program, that would be better, or be better preparation. Because if he was going to go to ESF year one, it would be a whole day program. But your option is to go into a K3 program for 2023 and apply to any other international school for 2024, which would also be year one, where he would be older in his year group rather than younger, with potentially smaller classes. So I don't know, you can choose any other school that you like. But for us, it's all about fit. Okay, so he's in a local international kindergarten and he's in full day at the moment. So it's good that he's in full day. And he passed the assessment last year. So you would hope that he would also continue to pass assessments for any other schools that you would choose to apply to. So look, Amy, you have presumably selected ESF as your top choice, and he succeeded. So that's good. And he's in the wait pool, but you don't know how long, or if it could take years. Okay, it genuinely could take a few years. So you can wait. You have the opportunity to wait for one more year because he's born in October, which is a good thing. But you can't afford to wait too long. So you would need to put in alternative applications this September for September 2024 because there's no K4. You can't stay longer than that. And if you apply for 2024, you have the advantage, in my opinion, it is an advantage that he could then go to year one in 2024. So I hope that helps, Amy. And let me take that off the screen. Facebook user, you're the same person that was asking about IGCSE and diploma, and you're a new parent applying for kindergarten. So that gives me a little bit of context. You do not need to start thinking about what streams you need to follow. You genuinely don't. You genuinely don't. So it's a common fallacy to think that, you know, this pathway is set in stone. It's not. Genuinely, primary school is primary school. What do we want our children to learn in primary school? We want them to learn to read and write, to socialize, to develop all the skills, right? That's it really, in English, because you're choosing an international primary school. Now, secondary school is a completely different bag. And if by the time your child has completed 6 years, 7 years of primary school, if you want to change to a different school, you're going to have so much more information on who your child is, what they're good at, what your circumstances are, who can predict. We don't know. We don't have a crystal ball. So we always recommend that you can choose a school for now and for the next 3 to 5 years. Beyond that, who knows? And I think I repeat myself on these weekly things, but you haven't seen before. But to think that you can put your child in a school when they're 3 or 4 or 5 and they will stay there until they're 18, it's a nice idea. But in reality, it doesn't happen all that often. It really doesn't. So look at all of your options, build up a list of, and I take parents through this in the coaching program that I'm developing. So I would have a genuine, honest conversation with yourself about who you are as a family. What do you want for your children? And this can be, well, I've got a guide for this, which if you ping me, I'll send it to you. But it kind of needs I need to take you through it. You know, to really understand what you're looking for in a school. Do you want, yes, location, fees, curriculum? There will be considerations, but they are not the key considerations. You don't need to apply to put in applications at birth. You need to take your time, is my advice. Or you need to give us a call and get in our program and we can guide you. But don't feel pressure to rush into this. You're a new parent, you're preparing to apply for kindergarten, and you're thinking ahead. That's great. But take your time and get some sleep and get to know your child, and get to know who you are as parents, because I think it's a funny thing. I mean, I remember back, I thought I would be the disciplinarian and my husband would be the softie. It actually turned out to be completely the other way around. And you develop roles as parents. Who will read to your child at night? Who will do the physical sports side of things with your children? Who will help them with their homework? Who will be the one to, um, have some? There tends to be that each parent, if there are two parents, that each parent will sort of develop roles, and then you need to come together as parents and discuss, what are your hopes and dreams for your children? What do you genuinely wish for them? And honestly, it usually comes down to the same sort of things. Okay, we all want our children to be happy. Then we have to unpack, what does that mean? Okay, happy is a big umbrella term for lots of different things. But genuinely, we want our children to be kind. We want them to be have lots of friends. We want them to be academically capable, whatever that means. Do you want them to be bilingual? This is a huge issue. Um, do you want them to be musical, and how much are you going to push that? So there's lots and lots of things to consider. So thank you. Join on all of the weeks, because you're asking a lot of questions today, and I guess this is the first time that you've joined. But thank you for your questions. Amy, I won't comment on the difference between the two schools that you've mentioned, because let me take this off the screen. So I often get questions that Amy has asked me. I'm choosing between school A and B. What do I think? I don't know. I don't know your child. I don't know what your history is. I don't know what your family values are. What you've discussed as parents is important to you as parents. So we take a very different approach. I know that when you're in a social situation and you're on a like not a Facebook group, well, even our own Facebook group, I watch these conversations and I try to stay back and say nothing. When people say, "What?" I'll give you I'm slightly exaggerating, but see people say, "Well, what about between school A and B?" Parent, school A, school A, school B, school B, school A, school B. They have no idea what your situation is. They're probably recommending the school they know, and it's probably the school that their children are in. So they're biased and they don't know your children. So I can't advise you, Amy, on choosing school A or choosing school B. They're very different schools, and I don't know why you've chosen them. So when we work with parents, we take them all the way back to the beginning. If you've already applied to a few schools, when we meet you, we backtrack and we understand the rationale, the result, the whole process for that school. But we prefer that we start talking to you before you even apply to any schools. When we support you to put in the application and we have full transparency and oversight of that application, we can help you to submit the strongest application to optimize your chances. When you do the application yourself and then you come to us, it's less efficient. Believe me, a lot less efficient. And if you've done the application yourself and it's been unsuccessful, and then you come to us, there's really not much we can do, I'm afraid. Thank you, B, for your question. Is it true it's harder to get good results as the curriculum is more focused? So I don't know if you were on at the beginning, B, but I talked a little bit about the difference between A levels and IB. And when you say IB, I presume you're referring to the IB diploma, because this is equivalent to A levels. This is years 12 and 13, or grade 11 and grade 12. I think, when you ask me a general question, my general answer is it depends, because it does. It depends on your child. It's rigorous. The IB diploma is rigorous, but then I believe that A levels are rigorous too. When you add in the EPQ and the enrichment activities and the work placements and all of that, the trips. So It depends. B, I wonder how old is your child? If you're at the point, if you're entering sort of year 11, year 10, 11, and you're really thinking about this, your child, speak with your child and have a really good, honest conversation with him and her and make a decision. So I hope that helps a little bit. You have another question. Oh, gee. No. Okay. Disclaimer, I have never learned simplified or traditional Chinese, but my children have. And I've advised hundreds of parents on this. It does slightly depend. And I know that the schools say that simplified is easier. It's easier for them. Um, I don't think it's easier. I genuinely don't. I talked about this last week. So go back and check last week's live stream, B, because I went into this in some detail. So the simple answer is no. And you have a young child as well. So the same as I said to Amy and the other person, Facebook user, we don't need to choose a stream or a curriculum for our children when they are so young. We genuinely don't. You have the flexibility to change later on. And a lot of people change. We do this all the time. We're switching children from US to UK, from UK to IB, from IB to Canadian. It's easy. It's easy. To do later on. And by then, you're going to know your children's strengths, their character, their interests, and their weaknesses. And you should always play to your children's strengths and always get your children on side, because when you have their buy in, they will be intrinsically motivated to do their very, very best. I think most of you know I've got 2 children. One is doing GCSEs at the moment, right now, like today, doing exams, and one is doing A levels. And they're very different children, but both of my children would prefer to specialize because they genuinely know what they are good at and what they're not good at. But most of the schools in Hong Kong are still offering IB diploma. I think that that's the situation that we are in globally, that most of our the population in these schools are not from any one country. So it seemed to be a more globally portable qualification, which is not necessarily the case. It is globally recognized, but equally so is the Ontario Secondary School Diploma, the Alberta Secondary School Diploma, the A levels. They are all globally recognized, but the IB Diploma is it's a leading brand for sure. So thank you for your questions, B and Amy and Facebook user. And there are more questions. If you have, we can certainly take this discussion offline. And if you have any questions, if you're watching this on replay, please type your question in the comments and I will get to them. We do this every Thursday at 6 p.m. Ask me anything. Next week is the earliest, first week in June. On June 8th, I have a few guests lined up, and we have guests for several weeks after that. So do keep following, like and subscribe, comment and share. That will help us immensely. I would thank you enormously if you could do that. Yeah, thank you. Let me just answer this one. Yeah, I completely disagree with that, B. Completely and utterly. And I don't know which school said that to you, but I think that's pretty much nonsense. So, with that, you can always rely on some straightforward talk on Thursdays at 6 p.m. I've been Ruth with Top Schools. If you would like to book a call with me, I'm always happy to chat with parents. We offer coaching and consulting. And if you would like to work with us, we can optimize your chances. We have a 100% success rate. We're about 11 years old now. And so thank you for watching. If you're watching live or on replay, regardless, thank you very much. And I will sign out from now. See you next week at 6 p.m.